In a workplace that most often favors the young, older workers wrestle with a unique set of fears and frustrations. Constantly peering over their shoulders, they often grapple with the harsh reality of ageism. You know, that haunting prospect of being discarded just because you've got years of experience. Well, join me today in uncovering 7 unsettling reasons behind the neglect and undervaluation of older workers. Welcome back to Over 50 TV. My name is Lou Reyes. Before we dive into today's video, it's a video that I've actually wanted to produce for a very long time. I think it's a very important topic. I want you to know that if you're looking to earn extra cash, then you're going to want to subscribe to my Side Hustle Rules. That's my other YouTube channel. On that channel, what I do is I use my business experience to help people kickstart what I call their side hustle journey. Now, that includes showing them how to earn extra cash and also explaining how they can achieve financial independence. If you want to learn about opportunities to earn, then subscribe to Side Hustle Rules. There's a link to Side Hustle Rules in the description box of this video. So now let me dive into the 7 reasons why older workers are disregarded in the workplace. Age stereotypes. Unfair stereotypes and biases about older workers, especially these assumptions about our lack of technological skills or adaptability, well, it can lead to our being undervalued in the workplace. Now, what's conveniently overlooked, I'm convinced, is that managers fail to understand that most older workers, we've mastered smartphones. We're more than comfortable using iPads and laptops, and we're also proficient in many of the apps that are important for survival in today's marketplace. We're buying products online. We use software for banking. We surf the internet. We're constantly adapting and using new technology in our everyday life. Yet we're considered dinosaurs with no technological skills and no ability to adapt. Well, you and I know nothing could be further from the truth. Yet this bias, it lingers on. Perceived resistance to change. You know, some employers, or should I say many employers, perceive older workers as resistant to new technologies or workplace changes. They conveniently, I'm convinced, conveniently overlook the fact that for someone to survive and thrive into their 50s or 60s or 70s, well, that person has had to adapt to change. They've had to welcome it. They've had to embrace it. They fail to understand that many of us older workers, we're staying in the workplace longer. We're not going anywhere. And to be successful, we understand that we've got to continue to embrace change. And many of us do. You know, I sometimes wonder, could it be that they are intimidated by our experience? Or maybe the truth is, they're the ones who are resistant to change. Prevalence of ageism. Ageism is an insidious form of discrimination that's based on age. And it can be prevalent in many, if not most, companies. And it affects how managers, and even how employees will treat that coworker. At the same time, what it does to that coworker is it erodes their self-esteem and their self-worth. A friend of mine, his father was a couple of years away from retirement when he was fired from his job, unceremoniously fired from his job. Now, he believed it wasn't because he was incompetent. After all, he'd been there for a couple of decades and always got good reviews. No, he knew it was because of his age. Well, soon after he was fired, he went out, tried to find a job, was unsuccessful, ended up drinking and drinking and drinking. And one day he drank himself to death. His family knew it wasn't the alcohol alone that killed him. It was his lack of self-worth, his lack of self-esteem. It was the lack of a job that he lost because of ageism. Desire for lower costs. Employers sometimes prioritize hiring younger workers due to perceived lower salary expectations or maybe lower health costs. What employers fail to realize, and often fail to realize, is that older workers will show up every day, they'll be productive every day, they'll often work harder every day because they understand a good work ethic. Well, you know what? It's important, but it's also ingrained in their soul. It's who they are. That younger, less expensive coworker, the one who more frequently calls off, well, they can end up being more expensive because they're less productive. Yet the older worker, the one with the experience, the know-how, the knowledge, the good work ethic, that person is disregarded solely because of their age. Lack of skill recognition. Changes in technology and work processes can lead to management's failure to understand and to recognize the valuable skills and experiences that older workers bring to the table. They consciously or subconsciously assume that older workers have obsolete skills and obsolete brains. So whenever possible, they're replacing experienced workers with AI, or in some instances, substituting humans with robots. But this doesn't always work out. There's a new book about Elon Musk. It was written by Walter Isaacson. And in the book, Isaacson relates a story about when Musk was using robots in his factory in Texas, and he was finding a continual problem on one of the assembly lines. And when he examined the problem, what he realized is it was a human that could do the job better than a robot. To his credit, what Elon did, he removed the robot, and in its place, he put in a human with experience and skills. Focus on short-term goals. Too many companies prioritize short-term goals. They're assuming that a younger employee will offer longer tenure, and they're overlooking the stability and the reliability of an older worker. Well, this fallacy, the fallacy that a younger worker offered a longer tenure, was dispelled by a 2022 Bureau of Labor Statistics study that found that median employee tenure was higher among an older worker than a younger one. For example, the median tenure of a worker aged 55 to 64 was 9.8 years. That's more than 3 times what they found the tenure to be of a younger worker aged 25 to 34. That tenure was only 2.8 years. Now, at the beginning of this video, I said I'd give you 7 reasons why older workers are disregarded in the workplace. So far, I've given you 6. This last reason, I think, is more of a consequence of devaluing older workers, but in some ways, it's also a reason. So, number 7, inadequate training opportunities. Continuous training is vital for a productive workforce, but too often training opportunities, they're reserved for younger workers, and this is done for many of the reasons that I've already discussed here today. Now, when an older worker isn't given a training opportunity, they're not able to acquire new skills and they fall behind, which furthers their perceived obsolescence. So once again, they're disregarded, their career is stymied, their dedication, their hard work is unrecognized, and certainly unrewarded. Well, there you go, my friends. I've just given you 7 reasons why older workers are disregarded in the workplace. Now, what I find is that the 7 reasons, they're more prevalent in larger companies and larger organizations, and that's often because ambitious managers, well, they're usually younger and usually out of touch with their older workers or older employees. Now, it doesn't help that their bosses are also out of touch and probably, what I see anyway, driven by their own self-interest, and that's often to the detriment of the company. Well, again, that's all I've got for you today. If you got any questions, any comments, I'd love to hear them. Send me an email, make a comment in the video. Also, don't forget, I do have a second YouTube channel, Side Hustle Rules. If you're interested in learning how you can earn more, well, then go ahead and subscribe to Side Hustle Rules. Well, as I said, that's all I've got for you. And as I always say, have a great day, everybody.